we arrived in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, after the earthquake, we found a city in agony. Everywhere we went, we saw collapsed buildings, many with people still trapped inside, most of them dead, but some still alive. The smell of death permeated many neighborhoods, as the injured and destitute were forced to live alongside the entombed remains of their loved ones. In addition to most of the government and church buildings, many hospitals were destroyed, and the few left standing were completely overwhelmed, with injured people occupying every available space, both inside and out. Most of Port-au-Prince's residents were sleeping outdoors in improvised tents, as even the homes and other structures that were still standing were damaged and thus unsafe to occupy in the face of repeated aftershocks. Before going down, Dr. Jim Toth received word that the Matthew 25 house, a boarding house for missionaries, where we have frequently stayed on past trips to Haiti, had been turned into a makeshift field hospital and was desperate for medical help and supplies. The Matthew 25 director, Sister Mary Finnick, and a group of dedicated Haitian volunteers, some with medical training, most without, had been doing their best since the earthquake to save lives and ease suffering. Upon arrival, Jim, along with Barb Burke, a registered nurse, began treating many seriously injured patients in the soccer field adjacent to the house. The 400 pounds of donated medical supplies they carried down proved invaluable. With donated money, Jim had also purchased much-needed pain medicines and antibiotics, which would help critically injured patients fight off deadly infections.
Traumatic partial amputation of the left foot. It was bandaged by Sister Mary within minutes after the earthquake on Tuesday, and it hasn't been looked at since. Couldn't work on her. First off, the wound was too fly infested. Every time I tried to work on her, I couldn't even see it because it was so thick with flies. So we knew we had to bring her out of the back and get her in here. And then she was in such dramatic pain that every time I touched it, again, it was impossible for me to work on it. So we started an IV. Got her some IV antibiotics, some sedation, pain medicines, and that at least allowed us to work on her. All I can tell you is that she's stable, but she's going to need the work of a surgeon. She'll probably need a number of surgeries. She may lose what's left of the foot. I just don't know. I just don't know. We're just doing the best we can.
I focused on translating medical evacuations for the most critical cases and also sanitation for the rapidly growing tent city in the soccer field. Meanwhile, team member John Steele, having flown down with several hundred pounds of water treatment supplies, was working hard to make safe drinking water available to devastated communities all over Port-au-Prince. On our second day, a medical team from Denver, Colorado arrived, including a pediatric surgeon, 3 emergency room physicians, several nurses, and EMT and other staff. To us, this was like seeing the cavalry ride in on white horses. Right away, the dining room at Matthew 25 turned into an operating room, with the Denver team performing amputations and other life-saving surgeries. Within a few days, the situation at Matthew 25 was stable enough that we began sending smaller groups out into some of the sprawling tent cities scattered around Port-au-Prince to treat the injured and sick people who were not receiving help and transport more serious cases back to our compound. As we returned home at the end of the week, we felt fortunate to have been able to play a role in the critical days following the earthquake. What we will never forget is the strength, courage, faith, and love for neighbor shown by the Haitian people in the midst of one of the worst natural disasters in human history.